everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, Chevrolet has given us the opportunity to get an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the 2015 SS, which is now equipped with magnetic ride control, and this one features the optional 6-speed manual, which is going to be awesome. Many of you know that I have a 2012 Dodge Charger RT, which has been my primary daily driver for the last few years. When Chevrolet announced that they were introducing the SS for the 2014 model year, I was pretty excited. I mean, I love this particular vehicle class. I mean, it's affordable relatively, and we'll talk about that with the SS a little bit later in the video. But, I mean, rear-wheel drive, a lot of room, a lot of performance, and it's more practical than like a Camaro or a Mustang or a Challenger or something like that. But one thing I wanted to do with this video, in addition to our typical video style, is to compare it to the Charger. Not only the 2012 model, but obviously the 2015 as well, as pretty much, aside from styling updates, those models are pretty interchangeable as far as mechanics and stuff. But really to get in-depth and see what the SS is all about for a proper in-depth road test. As always, guys, this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the SS. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, go over the performance data, take it on a thorough drive, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, let it run. Our tester is finished in Phantom Black Metallic and comes paired with the standard jet black leather upholstery, accented by Alcantara across the doors, dash, and a little bit on the seats, not to mention plenty of high gloss black trim, satin chrome bright work, and red accent stitching. Along with the smart key entry system, push-button ignition comes standard. Just keep the key fob within the interior, put your foot on the brake and clutch in manual cars, and then hit the dash-mounted button to go. The SS uses variable assist electric power steering, or EPS, for lighter effort at low speeds and greater effort at higher speeds. The EPS system only draws energy when the wheel is turned for greater efficiency over a hydraulic system. Engineers picked a calibration that allows for a lot of feel to transfer to the driver. Weight builds progressively in turns, and it's very quick to respond to driver inputs. The flat-bottom multifunction steering wheel combines a thick rim, 3-spoke leather-wrapped design with perforations across the sides, grip bolsters at 10 and 2, and satin chrome bright work. Unlike last year, for 2015, the SS is available with your choice of 2 transmissions. In addition to the Hydra-Matic 6L80 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters, you can now opt for a Tremec TR6060 6-speed manual. Power from the LS3 V8 is sent to the rear wheels through a limited slip differential. When equipped with the automatic, the SS uses a 3.27 final drive ratio and features a transmission oil cooler. Manual cars gain a more aggressive 3.7 final drive for quicker response off the line. An engine oil cooler is standard for both transmissions. The manual is an absolute blast. It took a little bit for me to get used to as the clutch isn't exactly linear, but once you get comfortable with the very defined grab point, you'll end up really enjoying it. The pronounced grab point and the otherwise light clutch also makes driving in traffic easier as you're able to be more precise with it, quite similar to the one found in the Camaro SS. Shifts are relatively short and feel precise as you move between the gates. A leather-wrapped shift knob is standard, accented by a touch of bright work. Placed into reverse, and a standard backup camera appears with adaptive guidance lines and front and rear parking sensors. Behind the shifter, to the left you have an electronic parking brake, and to the right you have your traction stability control, parallel and perpendicular parking, and parking sensors. Not to mention the addition of GM's magnetic ride control for 2015 standard equipment. It has 3 different modes: Tour, Sport, and Performance, basically firming up the dampers respectively. Of course, we'll discuss ride quality, handling, and so much more as we go through the video. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic HID projector headlamps, fog lamps, and the hazards. All 4 windows are automatic down, but the front 2 windows are automatic up as well. Now let's go ahead and check out the exterior. Upon closing the door, the vehicle will sound the horn a few times to let you know it's lost detection in the proximity key fob. Since the 1950s, GM's small block V8 architecture has been a stablemate of affordable performance, spawning some of the most memorable and outrageous creations in the automotive industry. As I said earlier, I'm a huge fan of the classic American muscle car, but having that power and performance in a sedan has always sparked my interest when it comes to daily practicality. The 94 through 96 Impala SS, for example, one of my favorite vehicles of the 90s, combined a full-size body-on-frame sedan with the 9C1 Caprice Police package, a lowered and stiffer sport-tuned suspension, monochromatic paint finish, unique wheels, larger brakes, and a specially trimmed interior. It also carried factory dual exhaust, a transmission oil cooler, high-capacity reverse flow cooling system from the Corvette, and a higher output electrical system. Even with all those enhancements, it was still a big car with a live axle out back that was never meant to be agile in the corners. As cool as the Impala was, technology, performance, and efficiency have come a long way. Since the demise of the GM B-body sedans, including the Impala SS, Chevrolet lacked any sort of rear-wheel drive V8 sedan, let alone one built for performance. Chrysler Group has since dominated the segment with the Dodge Charger RT and Chrysler 300C. Ford had the Mercury Marauder briefly, which followed more of an old-school design like the Impala, but that's about it. Last year, Chevrolet finally re-entered this niche market, borrowing an Australian-built 4-door muscle car, rebranded for the American market and known simply as the SS. Of course, we can't talk about performance sedans without mentioning the Pontiac G8, GT, and GXP. The G8, produced between 2008 and 2009, was based on the rear-wheel drive VE Series Holden Commodore, built in Elizabeth, Australia. In addition to a standard 3.6-liter V6 in the base car, the GT featured a 6-liter V8, while the GXP, only produced for 2009, carried an even more potent 6.2-liter V8. The latter offered the option of a manual transmission and even more aggressive styling. To many, it was directed more towards driving enthusiasts who wanted a relatively affordable and immensely fun sedan with the heart of a muscle car. Unfortunately, its life was short-lived, with Pontiac's demise after 2009, making the GXP somewhat of a rarity as it was only produced for 1 year. If you missed your chance of snapping up a G8, you'll be happy to know that the SS is more or less a direct descendant of the GXP. This time around, things have been simplified, as the SS is only offered with the larger V8 and one well-equipped trim level. Production will also be more limited in the G8, so it carries a little bit more exclusivity with it. Looking at the SS closer, you'll recognize familiar G8 bits such as the doors, roof, glass, general powertrain, and various chassis components. The important thing to note, though, is that the new car is based on the refreshed VF Series Commodore, introduced for the 2014 model year. The difference is quite substantial, with improvements in quality, weight distribution, and overall performance. A new electrical system supports all of the modern tech you could ask for, while aluminum components and composite material for the trunk floor and spare tire well help contribute to a nearly 70-pound shedding of weight over the G8 GXP. It rides on an updated version of GM's Zeta unibody platform, which also provides the basis for the 5th-gen Camaro and the Caprice Police Patrol vehicle, but the SS's wheelbase is 2.5 inches longer than the Camaro's and 3.7 inches shorter than the Caprice. The SS and G8 share an identical wheelbase, but overall dimensions are just slightly different. Weight balance now comes in at 52.6 and 47.4% between the front and rear respectively, thanks to an aluminum hood and trunk lid, which weigh about 30% less than traditional steel. It also helps keep the center of gravity lower for better handling profiles. Styling is always subjective, but I think the SS is an attractive car. It's not as aggressive and in-your-face as before, but it still looks muscular with this power-bulge hood, flared wheel arches, deck lid spoiler, menacing fascias, and a hiked-up rear end. The styling is more sculpted, rounded, and refined looking to me. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions on the amount of exterior bright work, but for a car that pulls off a notable sleeper persona, it looks more luxurious this go around. I wish the fender vents were functional, but the amount of bright work on the SS doesn't bother me, and it doesn't differ a whole lot from the GXP. I especially like all the chrome bits up front. They're subtle and tasteful, but I'm a fan of bright work. The wheels are pushed all the way to the edges for a planted wide stance. Projector HID headlamps are paired with standard halogen fog lamps alongside LED daytime running lamps. The SS also features a wonderful sounding dual exhaust system with rear diffuser style lower clip and wraparound tail lamps. The SS starts out at $45,745 before a $995 destination charge. With the $900 sunroof including destination, our tester rings in at $47,640, which puts it right in line with the loaded Dodge Charger RT Scat Pack and the starting price of the SRT 392. At that point, it's really up to you to decide which one is right for you, as they all have their strong points and weaknesses. When we discuss driving impressions, the differences become more apparent as the SS is smaller and lighter than equivalent Chargers. For example, comparing a Scat Pack, the SS is 5.3 inches shorter in overall length and rides on a 5.4 inch shorter wheelbase. Height and width shrink by 0.3 inches while the SS weighs nearly 400 pounds less, which makes a lot of difference when it comes to agility. The Mopars do offer more for your dollar though when it comes to features, technology, and premium appointments, but when equipped with a manual gearbox, the SS is the more enjoyable sports car. It really is all a matter of personal preference. The SS comes standard with a set of asymmetric forged aluminum 19-inch alloy wheels, featuring a twin 5-spoke design and polished finish. They're 8.5 inches wide in front, 9 inches wide in the rear, and wrapped in high-performance Bridgestone tires, measuring 245/40 and 275/35 respectively, allowing the SS to pull close to 0.95 G of lateral acceleration, downright impressive. It halts to a stop from 60 miles an hour in about 110 feet thanks to a 4-wheel internally ventilated Brembo braking system. Up front, the 14-inch two-piece rotors continue from last year with 4-piston calipers. The rear brakes, on the other hand, have been upgraded for 2015 with a new Brembo setup, consisting of larger 14.2-inch rotors and 4-piston calipers, compared to last year's 12.8-inch rotors and single-piston caliper combination. Providing excellent handling and greater control for 2015 is a fully independent suspension that now benefits from a 3-mode magnetic ride control, or MRC, adaptive damping system like we briefly touched on earlier. The SS still features a McPherson strut design in front with direct acting stabilizer bar and a multi-link rear suspension, but with MRC, the conventional mechanical valve shocks and struts are replaced by electronically controlled shock absorbers, filled with magnetic fluid that alters viscosity in as little as 5 milliseconds in response to changing road conditions. It allows for more precise control of the suspension's behavior and ride quality relative to which mode you're in, yielding a more responsive and compliant ride overall. The difference between the 3 modes is quite noticeable on consistent road surfaces, especially when switching directly from Tourer to Sport. Since the SS weighs less than any V8 Charger, it feels more nimble, reacting quicker to steering inputs with greater agility, especially when tossed into a corner at higher speeds. The rear end of the SS feels planted in normal driving with all that power, and I like that the rear wheels are wider than the front for added traction. In terms of comfort, Tourer and Sport feel very comparable to the Charger, which doesn't get an adaptive suspension until you step up to the SRT. I wouldn't leave it in performance for daily driving as it's quite rough, designed to keep things tight and reduce body roll in the corners. Otherwise, I don't believe there's a whole lot of difference between the cars, as they ride relatively well considering their performance targets. The SS front suspension design uses a forward-mounted steering rack and dual lower links with individual ball joints at the outer ends. The rear multi-link suspension was designed for high lateral stiffness with 3 lateral ball joints per side. Reducing noise, vibrations, and harshness is a rubber-mounted rear subframe. Aluminum components throughout, including the front steering knuckles and tension arms, help reduce unsprung weight at each corner. Overall length is 195.5 inches with a width of 74.7 inches and a height of 57.9 inches. It rides on a 114.8-inch wheelbase and weighs around 3,960 pounds, with near perfect weight distribution. The SS is powered by GM's LS3 all-aluminum 6.2-liter small block V8. It uses cast-in-place iron bore liners and features a pushrod-operated overhead valve design with 2 valves per cylinder and sequential multi-port fuel injection. It's pretty much the same engine found in the manual-equipped Camaro SS, but slightly detuned. Compression ratio is rated at 10.7 to 1 with a maximum engine speed of 6,600 RPM. While the LS3 delivers strong performance, it's not part of the new Ecotec 3 engine family, so it lacks the direct injection, cylinder deactivation, and variable valve timing upgrades that you find in the Corvette's LT1 and the latest generation of SUVs and trucks. Despite this, the SS accelerates and feels like a four-door Camaro. Compared to my Charger's 5.7-liter Hemi, the LS3 develops more power and torque, not to mention feels more dynamic, like a proper sports sedan. A lot of that added fun can be attributed to the 6-speed manual, something that really makes the SS stand out. The sound is something else that should be appreciated. While my Charger is more on the quiet side, and I've actually considered adding an aftermarket exhaust, the SS bellows, snarls, and crackles like a proper muscle car through its dual exhaust system. It produces 415 horsepower at 5,900 RPM and 415 pound-feet of torque at 4,600 RPM. This allows the SS to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in under 5 seconds with a top speed around 160 miles an hour. As we discussed, the 2015 Charger RT Scat Pack is another enticing option in this segment, developing 485 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque, thanks to the 392 Hemi borrowed from SRT. While it offers tremendous value for performance and an equally aggressive exhaust note, it does not offer a manual. It does, however, have one of the most advanced ZF 8-speed automatics currently available. Load the Scat Pack up with options, which starts around $40,000, and it easily climbs alongside the SS in terms of pricing. At that point, I firmly believe it boils down to personal preference. Both cars are fantastic choices in their own right. As far as fuel economy, the SS recommends premium fuel for maximum performance and carries an 18.8-gallon tank. EPA estimates range between 15 miles to a gallon in the city for the manual and 21 miles to a gallon on the highway, averaging around 17 miles to a gallon. Those who are familiar with the Holden Commodore will instantly recognize the interior layout of the SS, as it's pretty much identical aside from the added Chevy bits. Nothing has changed from last year aside from the addition of OnStar 4G LTE with a built-in Wi-Fi hotspot. The styling is clean, simple, looks upscale, and gives off a proper performance vibe. There's plenty of red accent stitching, bright work, and gloss black trim. All of your power accessories are located on the door, including your locks, windows, and mirrors, not to mention 3-person memory for the driver's seat. While it combines standard leather seating and plenty of Alcantara bits, compared to the Charger, the SS falls a bit behind when looking at the quality of materials and features relative to its price. That's not to say the SS has poor build quality, as it has plenty of soft-touch surfaces, excellent ergonomics, and modern technology. It just has a more dated vibe to it and doesn't have quite the extensive use of premium materials as the Charger does. The best way I can describe it is that it feels like a refreshed G8 GXP than an all-new model, an evolution rather than revolution. In contrast, the most recent Charger, which launched back in 2011, was a drastic upgrade from the 2010 model in every way imaginable. On the flip side, the SS is a far nicer product than the G8. It's more advanced, comfortable, and refined. The front seats are powered with adjustable lumbar and come standard with 3-stage heating and cooling functions. They have plenty of lateral grip, they're pretty comfortable overall, and they have nice detailing with the accent stitching and Alcantara band coming up the middle of the seats, of course the perforations to keep everything nice and ventilated, and these silvery accent pieces on the flared upper backrest. What you see is basically what you get as the SS comes pretty much in one well-equipped trim package. You don't have any other interior colors, two-tone schemes, or anything like that. It's just the standard black leather. The headrests are adjustable, the seatbelts are fixed, and you have the SS logos embroidered on the backrest. Of course, all of your side airbags, an aluminum door sill entry guard down below, and all-weather portions in the carpeting. You'll also find driver and passenger side knee airbags and a manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. Compared to similarly equipped Chargers, a power tilt telescoping wheel is not available, neither is a heated steering wheel, but there is a pretty cool heads-up display that beams up vital information onto the windshield, which we'll discuss in a second. I do wish the pillars were padded and the headliner was available in black, but you do have the option of a sunroof. The heads-up display, a standard feature on the SS, is routed through a toggle switch and a rotary dial. The toggle switch allows you to raise and lower the display, while the rotary dial allows you to dim it out or brighten it up. You can also change between the different screen modes, from digital speed readouts to lateral G-force, outside temperature and compass, and a tachometer. Alright everyone, let me show you how these parking assist features work. A lot of you are probably familiar with the concept of the parallel parking system, but this vehicle also has a perpendicular setup. I don't have a good parallel setup right now, so we'll just go ahead and do the perpendicular for demo's sake. I haven't seen the perpendicular too much until lately. I'm starting to see it more and more. I've seen it on some Ford products as well. But when you activate the system, it shows up in the digital instrument display, and that's the parallel feature. If you hold down that button one more time, then it brings up the perpendiculars. Alright, so we're going to use this nitro as a guide. We're in first gear. Just let our foot off the clutch real slowly and creep. Alright, found a spot. Told us to stop and reverse. So just go ahead and put it in reverse. Auto steering activated, and check surroundings. The backup camera comes on, and then just modulate the throttle. Seems pretty accurate. This is just so surreal. And we're going back straight. And there we go. So let's go ahead and see if she sounds. And we'll go ahead and shut her up. The SS comes standard with a nice sounding 220 watt 9-speaker premium Bose audio system, all routed through the Chevrolet MyLink system, an 8-inch LCD touchscreen display located in the dash, combining navigation, hands-free telephone, satellite radio, and so much more. Your side curtain airbags, padded visors with illuminated vanity mirrors. There's an auto-dimming rearview mirror with your OnStar controls down below, and in the top stack you have your hands-free Bluetooth microphones and the controls for the optional sunroof. While the sunroof is automatic sliding back, to put it forward you actually have to hold it down. There's no automatic feature to bring it back. There's no garage home link system or anything like that, which would be a nice feature for added convenience. The interior lighting is not LED, but your controls for it are up there with your 2 reading lamps. There's also 2 reading lamps for the rear occupants. The MyLink system for the SS is very similar to the one that you can now get in the Camaro. It differs a little bit from newer versions such as the one in the 2015 Silverado LTZ I recently profiled, but it offers pretty much identical functionality. It's very easy to use, ergonomically laid out, and you have all of your main system features in the button stack beneath the screen. The upper portion of the dash, like I talked about, is a little bit of a harder material, but you do have some soft touch material on the speedometer cluster and the middle portion of the dash. Specifically, some added perforated detailing here, up there, Alcantara, red accent stitching, and high gloss black trim. I also like the silvery trim coming around the infotainment cluster and flowing into the center console. You have 3-stage heated and ventilated seats for both the driver and passenger. Continuing down, you have your hazard switch and in-dash CD player right beneath that with a little bit of chrome detailing amongst a dual-zone electronic automatic climate control. Temperature to either side, different zones, front and rear defrost, and fan speed in the middle. Down at the very bottom, there's a little storage tray with a 12-volt power outlet. Coming across the center console, the right side bank of buttons corresponds to your StabiliTrak system. So stability, traction control, and you can basically turn traction control off and activate a competitive mode for the stability system. Your parallel and perpendicular parking assist features, and activating and deactivating your parking sensors. The parking assist features show up in the little digital display right there where it searches for a parking space. Hold it down for perpendicular parking and then tap it once more to turn it off. The mode select switch for the magnetic ride control suspension system between Tour, Sport, and Performance, electronic parking brake, 2 cup holders, and a padded center console with red stitching. Inside, a little modest amount of space, your media inputs, auxiliary, USB, 12-volt power outlet, and a little spot to charge up your key fob. As far as the steering wheel, on the left-hand side you have your cruise control in addition to forward collision alert and lane departure warning. The right-hand side is your hands-free telephone, voice commands, and radio controls.
Please say a command.
Help.
What do you need help with? Please say radio, phone, my media, navigation, or settings. For OnStar speech commands, say OnStar. For help with other commands, say other commands. If you need to exit the session, say goodbye.
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 Your high beams, turn signals, and driver information system is located in the left-hand side stalk. The driver information system shows up in the digital display there. Hitting menu, go between vehicle information, trip fuel information, and then cycle through the different features via the little rotary wheel. Intermittent wipers are to the right. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and shut her down. And we'll go ahead and check out the back seat. If you're looking for a roomy back seat, like the Charger, the SS is not going to disappoint. I mean, I'm 5'10", and with a comfortable seating position for myself in front, I easily have 5.5 inches of leg space and a couple inches of head space. There's a whole lot of room to move around in this cabin. The back seat is also extremely comfortable. There's a lot of padding everywhere. I mean, it's got a lot of softness to it. There's extra thigh support down below here. There's good lower back support. And in addition to pretty substantial lateral bolsters across the outer portions of the seats, there's a big, thick padded leather armrest in the middle right here. So this would be a really comfortable car to travel in. The headrests are not adjustable, and you don't have a third headrest in the middle here for the middle passenger, but they're very comfortable regardless. I wouldn't see any need to make these adjustable or anything like that, and they're also very soft, so like I said, very comfortable for a traveling car. The detailing, like the front, is also very nice. You have the perforated leather coming across the middle portions with the Alcantara accent bands, the little chevron logo at the top with the band that comes across the middle, and plenty of red double accent stitching. The Alcantara across the doors is also a nice touch. You have padded armrests, padded upper portions of the door panels. The biggest difference with this car and the Charger, like we talked a little bit about earlier when we were discussing the front area, is overall build quality and level of features that you get with the SS, being that it is quite a bit more expensive than like your regular fully loaded Charger RT. This is more along the lines of Scat Pack SRT pricing. And just comparing that, like the SS, you can't get heated back seats. You don't have cup holders across the armrest right here. You actually have to fold down this partition, which I'll show you in just a second. The Charger also has better build quality, I think, more solid feeling panels. There's a little bit of a hollow sound in the door panels of the SS. I don't think it has quite as much sound insulation like you would find in the Charger. And it's really easier to compare when you actually see it in person. And if you're considering one of these vehicles, I highly suggest going and testing it out, because it may not be a big deal to you. This is just something that I've noticed being a Charger owner for these past few years, and all the other vehicles I've experienced in this class. Obviously, the SS has a whole lot going for it. It makes more power than a regular RT, and you can get the stick, which is a very big difference. The 8-speed automatic in the Charger obviously is great, like we talked about, but It's just something about the stick. You just can't replace the stick. So anyway, overall environment, like I said, it's very roomy back here. You have 2 reading lamps up top here. Unfortunately, they're not LEDs like you can have in the Charger, but they're still very bright. Not a big deal at all. Grip handles up top, 2 coat hooks, air vents down below, 2 storage pockets. And there's a lot of storage across the door panels. You have side curtain airbags back here as well. And while you can't fold this seat down like a 60-40 split, like the whole thing, so you can utilize all the cargo space to the front, you do have this little trick partition right here. If you press this button, and I'll show this again when we get to the back seat or the trunk portion, you fold this down, you have quite a large tray right here, which is pretty nice, and the Charger definitely does not have this. Your cup holders are located in here, which seems totally fine. With this out, it takes a little bit to get used to because you basically lose a lot of wiggle space. Unlike the very thin armrest, this is very wide. So your leg space and stuff basically diminishes as far as like the amount you can go laterally, which may not be a big deal for some, but if you're a larger individual, it may be a little bit tight with this down. But you can eat back here, you can put a laptop, you can write, so this adds a lot of practicality for the back seat. It's a pretty nice feature, I like it a lot. And of course, it's the trunk pass-through, so you can load in some skis or poles or anything like that that's long enough, but small enough that it can fit through this opening. All in all, it's a very roomy, very comfortable back seat. Sure, it doesn't have some of the features that the Charger has, but it's still a very nice vehicle, and it doesn't diminish its fun or cool factor by any means. So, let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle. Open up the easy access trunk and you'll find a respectable 16.4 cubic feet of cargo space, which is pretty much identical to the Charger. There's also a cargo net and side pockets with your spare tire located beneath the floor. As mentioned, if you need more trunk space, just fold down the middle partition between the seats to load up cargo all the way to the front. The passenger seat features the same power adjustments that you find on the driver's seat, including the adjustable lumbar. Across the passenger side, you can see more of the padded material and Alcantara trim, with the SS logo stitched in. You also have the high gloss black trim and a little bit of chrome detailing the wraps on this side. The glove box is not locking, but it does have illumination and a pretty decent amount of space. After a 17-year hiatus, the SS represents the rebirth of the classic rear-wheel drive sedan formula for Chevrolet. Alongside the Dodge Charger and perhaps the BMW 5 Series and Ford Taurus SHO, the competition is quite fierce, only the SS offers something the others don't, the option of a manual. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2015 Chevrolet SS. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.